On this week's episode of Who Deserves to be Inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we look at the case for putting the alt-rock band the Jesus and Mary Chain into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This week, we are going to look at the case for putting the East Kilbride, South Lancashire, Scotland alternative rock band, the Jesus and Mary Chain, into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The group was started by brothers Jim and William Reed back in 1983. And while they've had 23 members over the past decades, the Reed brothers have been the most consistent members. They broke up for a time after the Reed brothers got into a fight because, well, much like the Gallagher brothers of Oasis fame, they just could not get along. They finally got back together in 2017 and have been going strong ever since. So, with all that said, let us dig through their stats crates and see what we find. To the tail of the tape we go. The Jesus and Mary Chain released 8 studio albums, 3 live albums, 7 compilation albums, and 6 EPs. Of those, 13 hit the top 40 on the UK charts, with 3 of those 13 going top 10. Their 1987 studio album, Darklands, went to number 5. Their 2024 studio album, Glasgow Eyes, went to number 7. And their 1988 compilation album, Barbed Wire Kisses, went to number 9. They had 2 albums in the United Kingdom go silver, and 3 of those albums go gold. In America, 5 of their studio albums charted, with the highest being 1994's album Stoned and Dethroned, which made it to only number 98 on the albums charts, and none of their albums in the United States went gold or platinum. The Jesus and Mary Chain also released 25 singles. Of those, 11 hit the top 40 on the UK charts, with 2 songs going top 10. 1987's April Skies went to number 7, and 1992's Reverence went to number 10. In America, they fared much better, especially in the top 10 on the American alternative music charts. Even though only 5 of their songs hit the top 40, of those 5, 1992's Almost Gold hit number 13, while the other 4 hit the top 5. 1994's Sometimes Always hit number 4, 1992's Far Gone and Out hit number 3, 1990's Head On hit number 2, and 1989's Blues from a Gun hit number 1 and was their only song to hit number 1 in any market worldwide. The Jesus and Mary Chain were the influencers of what became known as noise pop, which used a lot of amplifier feedback. They influenced a lot of alternative bands for the next few decades, bands like My Chemical Romance and Dinosaur Jr. They've been name-checked in songs by groups like Sublime and Death Cab for Cutie. Their music has been used in a lot of pop culture as well. You can hear their songs on TV shows like The Walking Dead and movies like Lost in Translation. In short, they give alt music and movies a certain kind of street cred, you might say. Their 1985 album Psycho Candy was actually named as the 269th greatest album of all time by Rolling Stone magazine. Plus, they're a damn good band that's still going to this very day. Their influence is more than a lot of other bands who are in the hall, so isn't it about time that they recognize that and put the Jesus and Mary Chain in? I think so. And that is it for Who Deserves to be Inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We also invite you to check out our other podcast, the Music History Today podcast, where we go over what happened on that date in music history. That podcast drops daily, including weekends, on this channel that you're either watching or listening to this podcast on. We also have the Music History In-Depth podcast, where we go more in-depth into the events that happened for that week in music history. And that podcast posts every Tuesday on this channel that you're either watching or listening to this podcast on. Thank you very, very much for listening or watching if you're on YouTube or Spotify.